Chill out.
I think I
Good evening, everybody. My name is Robbie. Thanks, Mom and Dad.
My name's Bobby.
I was in a Goodwill one time and I saw like a huge collection of Bukowski. Like we're talking 20 plus books, and I thought to myself, like, what happened here? Like, somebody died and their peoples don't like Bukowski, or someone had a radical shift in the literature they like and donated all that. But yeah, I'm gonna get to some poetry here. I am a poet, I suppose. I will say for the last 3 days I've been house sitting for a friend, and I'm still there now up in Oceanside. There's a friend of mine named Alex. I've known Alex for quite a while now. He called me up many, many years ago when I was 17 years old on his rotary phone, and he said, we got some trouble going, come over right now. I said, okay, word. I hung up the phone, went over to Alex's place, and it was him, my other friend Liam, and my friend Curran. And what they were doing was they were in the backyard of his mom's house filling up water balloons. And I kind of thought, like, oh, this is like a very Protestant idea of trouble right here. Like, we're going to throw water balloons? Okay. What the plan was not the usual one, however. We were going to throw water balloons at people at the high school football game going on that Friday night. This was upping the stakes a little bit. I thought, okay, this is cool. I'm down for it. So here's what we did. We went over, and here's how it worked. Alex's neighborhood, where his mom lived, had this big hill on the entrance of it. And if you stood on the high side of this hill, you could, oh, now I can see you, those lights are on. If you stood on this hill, you could lob the water balloons over the back side of the bleachers of the visiting spectators. So I cannot see my victims. I can only throw water balloons over this thing, bam. Here's what happened. Curran, that friend of mine, I guess sensing trouble or danger, dipped out before we even began. He started walking up the hill and just left the neighborhood. Liam, the other friend, froze the fuck up. He didn't go anywhere. He just stood still while me and Alex took these water balloons and started hucking them. Now, I will never forget that first water balloon. It's a perfect art. Woo. And as soon as it hits, a girl screams as loud as a woman can scream. And I remember thinking in my head, I like girls. I also wouldn't want to be them right now getting hit by these water balloons. And I'm not trying to pointlessly make a gendered statement here, but you know, a man getting hit by a water balloon doesn't scream like that. He just goes, ah, shit, fuck, whatever. You know, he doesn't scream. It was just a horrible noise. And so we kept going. Me and Alex, we must have thrown 30, 40 water balloons over. And people, you could hear them going up the back of the bleacher. They didn't want to get hit by no more water balloons. What occurs is, we get through, the security for the football game hops the fence and starts coming at us. Now, security at my high school was always this Samoan family. They didn't hire a company, they hired a Samoan family. So there's a big Samoan man running at us down this hill. I book it one direction into more neighborhood. Alex goes towards his own house. Liam is still frozen. He doesn't move. And Curran is obviously up on the street still. They all get caught. Liam gets caught by the Samoan. Curran gets caught by police who happened to be up on the top and knew he was a part of it. And Alex gets caught by some do-gooders in the neighborhood. Nobody squealed. I got away. Scot-free. Curran grew up, lives in San Francisco now. He lives a poetic, music-filled life. He's got a couple albums out that have never really taken off. He also works for Tinder, which is weird. Liam, last I heard, is shacked up with a beautiful woman in National City. That's the last I really heard from him. He was always kind of bitter about the whole incident. I hope he's got over it by now. He blamed us that he didn't get into the colleges he wanted to because he got suspended from school. Alex, I am house sitting for right now. He's got a nice middle-class life. He's traveled Europe. He's got a beautiful wife, 2 kids. And then there's me. Oh, and I will say a side note. I have to this day always kind of respected Alex a little bit more because he and I were the ones who actually went through with the plan. We did the evil together. We threw the water balloons.
That was you.
Now me, I am 31 years old now.
Oh.
Do you have hidden water balloons to throw your way?
No, I would deserve it if someone hucked a water balloon at me right now, though. I'm 31. When the pandemic hit, a woman broke up with me. I lost my job. I moved back into my parents' house. Life felt bad. I wrote this poem. It's called Sexually Transmitted Despair. After my last physical, the doctor gave me the all clear. I was free of all infections, bacterium, or genital disorder in spite of my previous unprotected activities. I should be relieved, he said. But driving home from the community clinic to my parents' house where I've lived too long, I felt an itch about my empty pockets. I'm pretty sure I've contracted herpes of the soul. And as I'm rearranging the furniture in my childhood bedroom, a searing pang, a burning sensation like time squandered, must be chlamydia of the mind. I called back asking for a psychiatrist. I know we got a lot of poets in the room. Why do you do it?
Money.
For money? Money ain't coming in for me. I don't know. I got different poems for different things. It's weird, laying a poem on somebody, what their reaction is. When I was a younger man, it would work to, I guess I'll just use the word, seduce women.
That too.
Once I've gotten older, now they're like, oh fuck, this guy's never gonna make money. It's not a big one like that. I kind of only write about a few topics, to be honest with you. They all just keep coming up. The same thing comes up over and over again. One of them that reoccurs, I don't know exactly how to explain it, but an example of how to explain it is like I made an Instagram specifically just to message Poets Underground, right? So I start the app up. I put in my name, Robbie. I guess they got my email or my phone number. That's all the information they have about me. And I go to search for Poets Underground. I hit that little search button. Boop. What popped up? You don't know? Tits and ass. Lots of it. It filled the screen. That's what Instagram thinks of me. That's what they think. Based on my first name, will get my attention, will keep me on their app. I guess that's, in some sense, what I write about a lot, how pissed off I am at being treated that way. But it's not an either-or conundrum. I don't want to be seen as asexual, not that there's anything wrong with asexual life, but I do want to have sex, obviously. It's a both-and scenario. I want to be treated as a full human. This poem got me the most women in my life. This is called Keeping the Books. Because being difficult is unbecoming and being easy is a bad name, most women count their partners with the same care as a tax preparer, ruthless with their deductions and taking breaks whenever it's allowed. In the end, they will declare the minimum, the smallest income, as if, in fractals of penis, large lump sums would be entirely too suspicious. Or they find ways to launder you throughout the year, along with the sheets where the exchange was made. I don't know how many times now I've had sex with the Cyclops. As I leave her apartment, it's as if I can hear her calling to all the neighbors, "It was nobody. Nobody did it here. And me feeling cursed as Ulysses, half expecting a rock to fall on me on top of being lost, loveless. Nobody. Being a man, I don't blame them. Most of us don't really, but I'm always on the lookout for a bookkeeper and one who doesn't short me, takes the full amount with interest. Now look, in the poetry game, we give the participation award a lot. A lot.
Too much.
You can't really tell a lot of times when you've really written a good poem. And I don't even know that that was a great poem. But I do know I put that shit on a dating profile. Them likes go up. Y'all are gonna tell me when I'm like out of time, right?
We're gonna let it go.
You're not gonna let it
You
go.
got 25 minutes.
No, I know I got 25 minutes, but I'm in the acid vault. I'm in fucking crazy time.
No escape, man. No escape.
I'm gonna say a lot of things tonight. I told you my life circumstances at the top here. I'm not trying to teach. I certainly wouldn't recommend any of my thoughts to anybody. I'm going to give you an example here of a poem of me being an asshole. It does occur. I don't know, poems, like I said, different poems for different things. There are some poems, you know, everyone tries. Everyone tries love, right? The high-minded try death. You know, you try to write about death. There's a basic list of, you know, topics people try on poems. This one's a little contemporary. It's about a breakup. Yeah, I'll just hit you with that. I called it My Next Duchess. That is a, what's his name? Robert Browning. Robert Browning wrote My Last Duchess. Fancy ass poem, much better than mine. Read it if you haven't, it's cool. But this is My Next Duchess, is a take on that, so I'm basically saying my next woman. Okay. I will start dating an ugly woman to confuse you, to make you wonder why, if maybe you're not so hot yourself, by comparison with my new squeeze. She will be homely, not fat, of an ugliness that is skeletal and defiant to the bone, limbs all out of proportion, small eyes, big nose, runaway ears, and she will be meek. So you will have to think that I chose her, that I pulled this hideous girl from a feeding trough somewhere, clothed her, and that I love her. I shall marry this monster and make horrible, deformed offspring. Whichever birth comes out most ghoulish, what gargoyle seems the worst of our litter, that child I will name after you, and we'll keep her in a dungeon on a diet of onions. Okay. Oh, my real thoughts are a lot worse than that.
Please share.
So I went to college. Anybody here go to college? I'm so happy to see a non-response there. Like I said, don't listen to me, but don't go to college. Don't do it. I went basically because people told me to. Now, I was a huge asshole of a student, like to the point where I went and apologized to teachers after the fact, and had to keep apologizing to them over and over. Part of the problem was when I was 18, instead of going to college after high school, like most young folks do if they're gonna go, I moved to New York City, and I thought, you know, I'll be a fucking fancy writer man in New York and have adventures and shit. And rest assured, I had adventures. It was a wild time. I had some experiences. So, in New York, I didn't have television, internet, anything really in my apartment, and I just read books. to occupy my time when I wasn't stoned, high, selling my body for crack cocaine, doing those sorts of things. I did read a great deal. So I had wild life experience and a lot of literary experience when I went into college as an English major. So I get there and I think, I fucking know it all. You can't teach me shit, I should be teaching you. And you know, generally speaking, the average university student is doing things like trying marijuana for the first time, you know, and that just seems so silly to me. But like I said, I was an asshole, and I have a series of poems here that are basically big resentments towards the academic world. So I'm not endorsing them. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I don't know, maybe a resentment poem such as the Duchess one I just read to you can be relieving or entertaining to someone. For me to write them, it just feels like poison. I hardly know if I want to keep them. But anyways, here's some of the college-related ones. Let's start off. What do you think, Trevor? You think pogo stick off the bat?
Yeah, go pogo stick.
All right.
He was like such a manager.
Yeah.
Like for the high, you're like,
You want to book events, hit me up.
yeah.
So this one has a real preface to it. The first part of this text is ripped from a college textbook I had. I went back, it's in this big book, a huge textbook, in a section on like postmodernism and if that means anything to you. And this statement in that text just kind of came out of nowhere. The context for it wouldn't even help you think like, oh, that makes sense. Like, no, this is wild. That textbook said, what characterizes masturbation, the focus on an imagined sexual object, the impossibility of genuinely possessing what one desires, also characterizes heterosexual intercourse. One could thus turn the dichotomy upside down and claim that heterosexual intercourse is a more generalized form of masturbation. I mean,
What grade?
I get this in the rhetoric world, you know, this is punching back, right? Okay, I get it. I actually respect what they're doing. Nowadays I can look at it that way. It's punching back. It's the heterosexual world has been punching the shit out of the everything other sexual world for forever. And they're making a stand against it. But anyways, here's the poem I wrote in response. Yes, more than a few times, I felt like nothing more than a pogo stick in bed. The grateful used, looking up, getting optimistic while a woman, the most beautiful thing, bounces, bounces, bounces away. She won't look at me, and I never know if she doesn't want to or if she's elsewhere in her mind. Probably both. She's trying so hard. Women, they are always going uphill. And here I am, such a clumsy way to get there, bouncing on a dumb thing, damn it, the pogo stick, still hoping she gets there. All right, I've never performed this one. I'm so thankful to this venue, to our hosts, to all the people that have created this space and everyone being here. I have performed a lot throughout my 20s. Most of the time I was the kind of asshole who came to a poetry mic and just thought about myself the whole time. Just like, when am I gonna get on stage? You know, that was my mindset. Not where I'm at now. I don't know, maybe, I will say, so turning 30, moving back in with my parents, fucking end of the world, pandemic happening. I had this big old stack of poetry. I brought about a third of it with me tonight. Well, here's the thing. When you're broke, and you've gone broke many, many times in your life, and you're broke again, and you just have all this poetry, and you just, you know, you've never been published, you just kind of think like, what the fuck do I do with all this? Like, what is the utility of this? So what does anyone do when they have a spiritual or material crisis in the 21st century? I went on the internet. what do I do with my poetry? The overwhelming answer was publish it. And these are internet strangers who've never even read the shit. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Publish it. Like, you don't even know what it is. But some other wise people told me, go seek community. Go find other poets. Go be amongst people. And I was like,
That's right.
that is the idea right there.
That's right.
For me, I mean, maybe you want to make $1 million. Don't worry about it. I forgot why I even said that, but I don't know. Here's another one of them college poems. This one's called Flowers for the Patriarchy. I confess 2 things to you. First, that I think of vulvas when I look at flowers. Some open, some closed, some withered, some wet. Both very temperamental, pleasant parts of life. And the second, that I've read many works which make the same comparison. Some by men, some by women, most of them better than mine here. I am not original. Because sometimes art gets lumped in with finance on the scales of chauvinism, as if poetics, like dollar bills, is printed with a man on it. That there lurks a penis under the English language, just like the one beneath the grim faces of Washington, Lincoln, Hamilton, and Jackson, or the phallus most infamous, Benjamin Franklin. I confess I like the flower poems, and the vulva and flowers. Oh man, this is a mess. This is a mess. Let's shift gears a little bit.
Yeah, shift them gears.
What's your favorite depression poem? Nobody reads.
Evanescence. All of Evanescence.
Okay.
Alone after I'm home.
All right. I know that one actually. I was expecting to hear.
The crunch.
Yeah.
Sylvia Plath or something?
I got Sylvia Plath listed here. Yeah. I like Sylvia Plath a lot. I like Hamlet's "What a piece of work is man" speech. Holy shit! I used to have that one memorized, and I would just say it at inappropriate times to people. Yeah.
Be an actor.
That one's a banger. I mean, that's 16th century depression. There's no medication for that. I don't know the French. I feel like that's a whole nationality that's depressed. Read some Camus, read some Sartre, read some
Baudelaire.
Celine if you can tolerate Nazis. He was kind of a Nazi. It's not a metaphor or nothing. Good books though. I mean, the French even call an orgasm a little death. Because people are obsessed with death all the time. Yeah. Anyways, this is my attempt at a depression poem. It's called Happy Birthday. Sometimes I wouldn't mind a little cyanide in my Tylenol. I wonder if I'll live long enough to make a daughter, and I'm never sure which side of birthdays I'm celebrating. The years getting shorter, fewer, and lumpy coming up, or to look back at the ones gone by like I've already died. Happy that there's less of them. Happy that they're gone. I meant to leave you with something uplifting here, an expression of gratitude to please God and my fellows, but regret is in my diagnostic material, and my daughter is yet unborn. That last line is like a little shade of Weldon Keys there, if you're familiar with that. How much longer should I go? 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute?
2 poems.
2 poems? Okay. I wrote a series of poems and made a little book that I used to sell to folks in college called Poems I Gave to Your Wife Before You Were Married. The series was very troubled by an actual woman in my life. I don't know what to say about her. I will put it this way. Sometimes, I haven't seen her in 4 or 5 years, sometimes when I enter a dark room, a lot of times my own home, there is a moment of terror, absolute terror, before I turn on the light switch, that she's just going to be posted up somewhere. She'll be in the room. Real fear, not like fake fear. This poem's for her. I wrote it for her. She used to commission a lot of poems. That was a dangerous thing. I didn't realize it at the time. I always ask people for topics whenever they commission a poem. What do you want it to be about? She said, make it about whatever you want. So this is a poem for her about whatever I want. A better body and a pair of wings. That's what I want. Skin without blemish. Also eyebrows a bit more tame. I want all the pain in all the world passed off like a beer can between frat bros. Easy like that and excused without a second thought. Crushed, bro. But then no, I don't want it that easy and irreverent. I want to think that all the other poems I've given to women over the years meant something more than our failed attempts at love or my equally failed attempts at lust. I want to believe those poems marched bravely to the garbage can, and I want to be certain none of my ex-poems are still out there for other men to suffer stumbling upon, these other men attempting to love where I had come up short. Okay, I'm gonna close. Where's this goofy ass poem?
Penis poem?
I'm not gonna do the penis poem. Well, it's a penis essay. You've heard the penis essay.
Actually,
loved
Anthony
it.
wasn't here that time, so.
All right. Well, this is a good segue. I guess I'll close with the penis essay.
Dedicated to Anthony. Is it long? Dedicated to Anthony.
No. I will say about this is a prose piece. I do actually write primarily in prose nowadays. I've written 2 novels in my life. I burned one, Shades of Nikolai Gogol, right there. That was sober too. That's as wild as my brain gets. But I don't know if you're interested in reading a novel. Asking someone to read your novel is kind of like trying to just ask them to have sex with you on the spot. Like, will you have sex with me? Like, people are like, no, dude, I'm not going to do that. Or they're nice and they say, oh, take my number, and then they never contact you again. That's what the prose world is like. If you thought poetry was hard to get people to listen to that, but okay, this is the penis essay. It's a very serious topic. It's something I'm a champion for, primarily for men. Men is my audience here, especially if you're a heterosexual man. You are the audience. You need some rearranging of your thoughts. Hear me out. Right now, women know more about penises than men. Women are penis experts. They interact with more penises than men. They see a variety of penises. They see penises in all their stages, and they see them often. Maybe this doesn't bother you. It should. What feminist would be okay with a world where men had all the knowledge about vaginas and women knew very little? Gentlemen, we must see more penises. I must see more penises. How do we do it? Always with consent, of course. The majority of the penises I've seen up to this point were unconsenting. My father, when he wore his Navy bathrobe and no underwear. Kevin Shaw in the 12th grade backstage during the school production of Beauty and the Beast. He tucked it between his legs and then achieved a mooning and flashing maneuver all at once. Wow. One time I exchanged phone numbers with a man at a gas station after a brief chat about possible job opportunities in the area. When I returned to my car and he to his, I opened my phone to discover he had texted me a flaccid dick pic. Which, by the way, very fun thoughts go through your mind when that happens. It's like, what was I wearing? What did I say to him? We must have consent. The biggest hurdle to seeing penis is the fear of all things gay. And in fairness, gay men are the true experts of penis. They understand them far more than any woman. Women have their limits. One time, I was at a poker table. Chatter all around became fun and absurd when the lone woman at the table confided she worked as a dominatrix. She claimed at one point to be able to intuit the size of a man's penis just based on their dialogue over the phone on first consultation. I blurt out, "My God, women are so perceptive they can tell penis size just by voice." Then I turned to her. I asked seriously, "So how big is my penis?" She looks me deep in the eyes, pauses a moment, and tells me I've got a big one. I looked away, poker face on, thinking, "Ha! I've got this table fooled." But how do we get over the homophobic hurdle? How do I convince you I'm not wanting to see your penis for sexual reasons? Perhaps it's a bigger issue than that. Because so what if I do get turned on looking at your penis? Women seem to deal with the same issue relatively easily. Relatively. Women go on the beach in attire smaller than underwear, and they don't seem to care at all if I get turned on looking at them. They don't worry if my penis moves given the right context. They trust that me, pale beach-going male, has uncontrollable sexual feelings, yet poses no threat other than curiosity. Context matters. Ask your friends in the right context about their penis. Ask about their relationship with it. Ask to see it. What is the right context? Sober, indoors, at a distance of several feet. Then you may see the penis in all its glory. Dangling audacity, an almost inherently hilarious appendage. And yet, it asks to be taken seriously. Begs for respect. And thank God for lovers who do respect it. There are even some women who love a penis as if it's their own appendage, rent to another body. That's it for me. I'm selling originals tonight. If you want one of my original manuscripts, they're written on a typewriter, $1 a piece. Consider it like a good gamble. Like you're getting like 200 to 1 odds I get famous, and then you can sell that shit for tons of money. No, but for real, yeah. Thank you all.
Wait, we gotta get you to sign the.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you gotta sign the board!
Yes, sign the board. Give it for Robbie. I think we're gonna open up to the Q&A. That's fun. But first, wow, that was so fucking good. And Anthony, the penis foam, since that was your first time.
Oh, it was. We need copies. We need to take this on tour. We need to freaking.
Yeah, let's take the penis foam on tour. And encourage it.
Oh, he did it!
There is. Wait, Rob, we're gonna do it.
What?
Rob, you're gonna do a Q&A.
Oh, right.
And putting you on the spotlight longer.
Oh, thanks, Igor.
Very well done.
Yeah.
Seriously, there is such an intimacy to your poetry and a heartbreak in all of the humor. And your voice alone has such a great storytelling quality. I could see why at 18 you had your like chest and heart puffed up and postured ready for the big deals of writing, because it clearly is so natural for you and absolutely where you're supposed to be. And so we're honored to have you and to watch your gift really come alive and your comfortability on the stage. And yeah, it's just such a cool thing to listen in on. And everyone's style really is welcome, and our way that we see the world, the humorous nature of the depression and everything that goes on inside the great life of one. It's such a cool way to hear it. So thank you for the sneak peek and the intimacy, really. The generation. I'm gonna throw a Q&A out there and start us off, babe, with a question. We'll do 3. We'll have one from us, and then if anyone out there has questions for Robbie, this will be the time. or about his penis, who apparently is also here for questions this evening. And then we're going to have a quick, like 5-minute break or so for you to order a drink and get on the open mic list if you haven't already. And then we'll get started on that section shortly. Meow.
First off, let's get another round of applause to Robbie Hammel, everybody. Man, what do we gotta ask? All right, so where do you drive, or what drives your motivation to write?
What drives my motivation to write?
How do you sit down and develop what you develop in a way that it's written that way? Besides the things that you learned through college, like I mean, I'm saying that because I didn't go to college, and I feel like you're very, very intellectual and smart when it comes to a little bit, book smart. So I'm from somebody that isn't. I respect that very much. So I want to know what else you bring to the table with that as something that you got in your back pocket.
Okay. I don't want to answer this question like with a hypothetical scenario or something. I will say for that poem, Keeping the Books, right? So there's that title. The woman who that occurred with in my real life was an accountant. So it was just like gifted to me. It's like, oh, that's easy. It was a really easy poem to write. Every poem's different. Some of them come out of anger. Some of them come out of a desperation, a welled up feeling like there's something inside. I could give you the college answer to this question. Like they're very much of the mindset that one text creates another. I'm just a big lump of text and have no soul myself. Fuck college. But yeah, it's just like, I guess that's that. I won't, yeah.
All right, we'll open it up for two questions. Two questions from the audience.
All right. My work is
There we
done.
go.
Okay, so when you said you found a lot of Bukowski books at a library or at a bookstore, when you found them, did you take a pick? Did you already know of some of them? Did you buy them all?
Are you
Did you steal one? Did you steal one?
I must say something. I lied.
Okay.
I donated all the books.
Can I ask another question? You did it because you had your fill of it. It's time to share. Am I right?
Yeah, pretty much. I read Bukowski from ages like 17 was probably my first. I remember War All the Time. That was my first collection of his. It was a later poetry collection. And I went through every single Bukowski book I could get my hands on till I was 23, and I never read them again. I felt like I was done. I felt like reading his books was painful. Yeah.
But you knew somebody else could appreciate it. That's why you
for sure.
donated.
I don't have any feeling like you shouldn't read Bukowski. No, that would be ridiculous. You should. But I was done. Yeah.
I'm just saying the same thing because somebody gave me the post office. I read it. I let the postman read it. He returned it. Then I gave it away to somebody else and told him to keep doing the same thing.
Nice, that's fun.
Yeah, Am I done?
Got one more? There we go, wait.
Right
How
there.
often do you revise?
Oh, that's a good one.
Often. Do I revise? I haven't stopped. Some of these poems are 12 years old is probably the oldest one. I remember revising that one in this last go around to get ready for this. I didn't share it, but I mean, yeah, it doesn't. That never ends. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your talent time with us. All right, 5 minutes. We're going to give a 5-minute intermission. This is a drinking intermission.
I'm gonna go smoke.
Tea
Join me.
intermission.